talk about that later.
Thank you. I'd be delighted if that were true. I'm not sure that it is, but thanks.
Let's go back a step, pre-social media days.
Yes.
How were you promoting yourself and the Nine News brand before social media came along?
Well, you see, it was a different world back then. In fact, even before joining Nine, I started off at 4BH in Brisbane. That was my first job, reading the news on the half hour in breakfast or drive. Not long out of school, I didn't have a clue what was going on, but it was a terrific learning experience. It was a fantastic station and a great newsroom. And so I was learning about stories, about how you get stories, about how you interview politicians or whoever the newsmakers are. So I was building up a knowledge about the job. But as far as promoting our station, well, it just didn't happen. I mean, that was something that the promotions department of the station did, and they took media ads, they took ads in the newspapers. I don't think radio in those days was advertising on television, although it has since done. Then at the ABC, which I joined after 4BH, again, it was something that was done by the promotions or publicity department, and they had their job.
And it was
expensive.
The rest of us,
oh, it must have been cost a fortune for them, because media ads in those days for newspapers and magazines were hugely expensive. I'm sure the price has come down now.
Maybe.
But back then it was very expensive, and those were about the only ways of promoting a product, except for the ABC, they could promote their products on television because they had those little kind of commercial breaks at the end of the show, at the end of each show. And in fact, probably for Channel 9 it was similar. Now, there have always been great marketing initiatives along the way. There was, I remember when I first joined Channel 9, there was a sort of a Channel 9 dance that you did. They played this little music, and everybody from Humphrey Bear through to the newsreaders did this little dance on the station IDs.
I remember that.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
It was quite fun.
It was good fun, actually. I did it and trod on my co-host's toe, but she didn't seem to mind. But the thing is, so there were ways of marketing the station in those days, but as far as somebody who was on air, it was not really something that I was involved in, because that was done by experts, and we just did our job.
So things changed. There was a point in time, and can you recall that moment where you have gone, oh, hang on, there's this thing called social media, and all of a sudden you can use it to actively, I say promote yourself. I know you're not a self-promoter, but you actively can take people behind the scenes. You can. Yes. You remember that moment?
I can remember that moment, actually. Yes, it was when I opened a Twitter account, and I have Tony Jones, my colleague at Nine News in Melbourne, and Clint Stanaway to thank for this, because they said, "Look, what are you doing?" Because I knew about it, but I kept thinking, "Oh, look, it's going to take up so much of my time. I'll let somebody else do it." And then when I opened the account and suddenly realised, wait, I've suddenly got access to and the ability to communicate with whoever happens to be interested, I thought, this is amazing. And I thought I'd make up my own rules for what I did. So I tried to, anyone who followed me, I'd follow them back. And if they sent me a direct message, I'd try to respond. I'm a bit slower on those things now. It's certainly the response to private messages, because there actually are quite a few of them. But I tried to just do it as something that was an honest extension of what I would normally do.
How long ago was this, Peter, when you picked up Twitter?
It's years and years ago now.
Because Twitter's been around for a long time, so you're an early adopter.
Early adopter, and I looked at some old tweets the other day, and I thought, they're from years ago. So, it has been a long time. So it was Twitter first, and then Instagram, which I sort of adopted, or which I went on as soon as everyone was saying, "Hey, wait a minute, let's check out Instagram." And I thought, oh, this is good, because you get to share a different side of what you're doing, and put the pics up and things. More visual, yes, and not necessarily, because Twitter was at that stage very much news driven. So if there was something new happening, you'd mention, oh, there's a headline coming up in the news at 6, we've got this exclusive, or whatever it was. But Instagram gave you that pictorial coverage without necessarily it being relevant to a news story of the day. And I've found since then that I also do that on Twitter now. So I just put up pics on Twitter that, just to nice sunrise or something like that, just to connect with whoever's interested.
It would have been very easy for someone in your position with a public profile to go, you know what? This is way too revealing. All the magic disappears of celebrity, and then you go, well,
magic.
Well, maybe you don't think it's magic, but people do. And did you not have that conversation with yourself? You were quite excited by the fact that all of a sudden, because what you do is a one-way street to camera, there's no feedback.
That's right. Well, that's the thing, because television used to be, and all broadcasting was pretty much delivered from on high, with no right of reply really to the people. They could write a letter to the editor or something of a newspaper, and that was a way of getting their story out. But social media makes it immediate, and it has enormous potential to reach lots of people. So if a lot of people are feeling one way about a story, well, they have access to a platform. So I actually think it's terrific, and well, in this day and age, everybody knows everything about everybody if they can be bothered finding out. So any idea of magic or that sort of stuff, revealing the magic doesn't count, I think, because we sort of all know who we are, and we all, everyone knows. I think everyone sort of knows if you're coming with the right intentions or not. If you come to Twitter or Insta or Snapchat or whatever it is with the right intentions, I think people see that. People are, the audience is highly intelligent.
They are.
Certainly much more intelligent than I am, and so you just throw yourselves at their mercy and hope for the best.
You picked up Twitter early days. You then went on to Insta.
Yes.
Keep going.
And I'm still on Twitter and Insta, by the way. Facebook, I was a bit late to Facebook actually, because I thought Facebook is something that has got sort of different time constraints to it. It's sort of more. It's not quite as immediate as the other two seem to be, and it's immediate, but it's just a different kind of conversation, and that took a while to get into. But I've discovered, actually, this is a great way of chatting to people who might be in the audience, who might not. But it's a nice way of connecting. And then Snapchat, and Snapchat is one that I love. Oh, before Snapchat, of course, there was Periscope. Periscope came along, so I do a Periscope every day, and Periscope is kind of a live stream linked to Twitter, so you know,
yes.
Sort of
owned by Twitter.
By Twitter,
and
yes.
I love that. I see a lot of newsreaders over in the States use. In fact, that's where I first. I find it very exciting. I mean, there's some newsreaders who literally have their phone
on their phone
while they're doing the thing, and it's quite exciting.
I do that with our news breaks sometimes, just to let people know what's coming. Not during the news itself, but mainly for logistical reasons, because there's nowhere to hide the phone. We've got this vast space-age looking desk. You want to put a phone on that? Oh, good luck. Not a hope. So I can't do it there, but I do it for news breaks and things. People love to see behind the scenes, I think, and I think it's interesting too.
I know you do, and I've always loved behind the scenes. It's one of the things in terms of social media content that people love, and a lot of business owners undervalue the idea of taking people behind the scenes of their business. And
absolutely,
I love your excitement for the business still. I was watching a behind the scenes of yours only yesterday where...
thank you.
Well,
thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. That's the thing. That's the other thing to remember. Yeah. Where a lot of people seem to think, oh, you never respond to people and things, but of course you do, and you always. I'm always appreciative of anybody who, if they can be bothered following me, I can certainly be bothered following them or being in touch with them or something, because, it's a two-way street. But as you were saying, behind the scenes is exciting, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it is. And the minute you lose that, I think there's a spark's gone, because it is fun, and what you do is fun, and that is the magic, by the way. So there is magic attached to it.
Oh, yes.
You're just revealing your tricks, right?
Well, now, actually, the magic is probably the people who are in the team.
No doubt.
Oh, they're terrific, and getting them to tell their story. It's so much fun, and because I have the pleasure of working with the people in makeup and styling, and the floor managers and camera operators and the reporters and producers and every day. But people at home don't get to meet them, and they are such great talent and great stories in themselves that whenever I have the opportunity, I like to show them. The other thing I love is I've always loved a studio or a theatre when it's before the performance or after the performance. There's a magic there that is just worth just nice sharing with people. So it's sometimes just go into the studio and just show anyone who's watching what the studio looks like without the lights, for instance.
Yep.
So, you know, and it just shares that.
How do you maintain that? Because when I saw your behind the scenes yesterday, and you interviewed the makeup girl, you interviewed the floor manager, you're speaking to the cameraman now.
Yes.
You've been doing this for 40 years, although albeit not on TV, but you have been doing news for a long time.
I've worked in television, you know, or radio since I left school.
Wow.
Which is 100 years ago.
I was going to say 10 years ago. But so what I watched yesterday with that behind-the-scenes footage on Periscope was like, but you must have done that 100 times before. How do you maintain the excitement around that?
Well, there's always a different angle. So that was done the day before yesterday, but it was done recently because I think Periscope stay up about 24 hours and then they're gone. I'm not exactly sure what the time span is, but so I hadn't spoken to that talent before on air, but I've spoken to Jane a couple of times. Jane is our prompter. She operates the prompting side of things.
She is critical to you.
She is critical to me, and she's a good friend because we've worked together for 30-something years, and she's just so funny and so fabulous, and she's a good friend of mine. And so we've occasionally done periscopes together, but always about different things. So the other day when she had a puppy and it was doing what puppies do, which is wander around the house chewing jocks or socks, that's what a puppy does. So we had a laugh about it. Yeah. We had a chat about that on Periscope and Facebook Live, which is also around now. So those are two good ways of live streaming.
They are. We're live streaming there.
Oh, good work.
Hey?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Greetings. Good to talk to you.
How do you? Where do the ideas come from? So, like, you were sitting in makeup, you're thinking, I think I'm going to do a Facebook Live as I wander into the studio, or where does that come from?
I don't know. I just am engaged with the process. So
is it every day?
So every day. Oh yes, every day. I think what I should be doing. In fact, had I been more confident about about our interview today, I'd have actually live streamed it myself.
Right.
But I thought, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do here.
I
might just. Fair
enough.
But I'm pleased that you're putting it up live. That's terrific.
So. And by the way, I should have asked permission for that, but it's going on the podcast anyway.
Chillax. Do you think I need permission?
Did you say chillax?
I think I might have actually.
I love that.
Oh yes.
Give
me one of those. Yes.
And I noticed you did the dab the other day.
Oh yes, the dab. And that's the other thing about social crazes. I was just thinking about that the other day. How quickly they come and go, how quickly they're forgotten. Remember the mannequin challenge?
I do.
That's so last century, and planking and all those other things. Yeah. They're in for a minute and gone. That's our kind of disposable life we live in these days. So a dab is probably so last century that you can't even imagine.
My kids still ask me to do the dab. I think they're taking
the
mickey.
Right.
But
yes.
Well, this is interesting because that's how I found out about your Snapchat involvement. My daughter Stephanie, who you spoke to the other day so very kindly and made her day, maybe week, possibly month or year, I don't know. But she said, Dad, Peter Hitchener, the newsreader guy, he's on Snapchat. And I love that because Snapchat is generally, I think the demographic is very young.
Yeah, it skews
younger.
So
you've been quite strategic, although, you know, I'm sure you don't sit there with a whiteboard and plan it, but you are opening yourself up to a much younger demographic who probably don't watch a lot of TV, by the way.
No, they're not. I don't think that they're. I think lifestyles have changed, and especially younger audience isn't there so much anymore. Although there are plenty of people under 25 who watch the news, but
no doubt.
But it wasn't so much. It wasn't even thought about as a strategy. I just thought, this is a great app. How does it work? And so it was because of the app and because of and really you have no idea actually how old the people are who are also on the app, except that it clearly does skew younger. But why not? And you get a response from it's amazing. The response to a picture or to a snap is in the thousands within minutes. Where you don't necessarily get that response on Twitter or Instagram, and I'm not decrying those apps because they're terrific, but it always amazes me how many people are on Snapchat and what kind of response you get to things. I put up a picture on Sunday morning that was just to a specific part of the audience, and just put up a thing saying, "Good morning, have a great weekend." And it had nearly 9,000 looks within the 24 hours, and more than 150 screenshots. So,
wow.
So that's just a way of.
How do you decide?
I don't know that it goes anywhere, or that it, but it just shows that it's.
Mm-hmm. It's called engagement.
It's engagement,
and people
yes.
consume information differently. So
Yeah. And so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I love it. I love it. How do you decide whether to Snapchat, Insta, Facebook, Twitter? Tell me you're not on LinkedIn and Google Plus and Pinterest.
I have a Pinterest account, but I don't understand Pinterest,
Right.
so I just think, well, it's lovely, good,
Have
fun.
fun. It's over there.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
No, I don't have time. And
How
I
do you
don't
decide which one to use?
I tend to take a photo on Snap, and then resize it if I need to, or just edit it and put it on the others if it's appropriate. Not always on Twitter, because it might not really work on Twitter. It might be a bit too folksy for that.
If you had have streamed our conversation today, you would have the choice of Periscope and Facebook Live.
I'd really wanted to do both, and that is the trouble, because I think you get a different audience for both, and you can put up video afterwards on Facebook Live, but Periscope is live, and that's it. And so I might have recorded it, done a Periscope, recorded it, and then posted it later on Facebook.
Right.
So that's.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. So do I, actually. And again, I've no idea whether this is a way of. I mean, it's a way of engaging with people. I don't know how you monetize it, and I don't know whether you want to. I don't really want to. I just like people to know what we're doing and share my passion for what our job is, and to share the newsroom, to share the people I work with. Oh, our team is amazing, and I'm forever hounding them. TJ, for instance, Tony Jones, he does the sport, and he fills in when I'm on holidays and things, and he's terrific. Tony is an amazing talent. He can do anything. He's a reporter whose writing skills are just amazing, and who's very funny, and he's a great compere, and he knows about sport and news and everything. He's a multi-talent. And I say to him, now come on, TJ, let's have a yarn. Live, and he said, "No, mate, I'm too busy writing stories."
Not interested.
Well, he's interested, but at that time of day, he can't really do it. So, but I'm forever chatting to Lavinia or one of the reporters about what their story is or what they've been doing. So, it's good fun.
I've got 3 children. I'm constantly telling them, guys, just look 3 centimetres up. Just 3 centimetres. There's a world out there.
Yes.
They are addicted, and it's the nature of that generation, and we could have that discussion, but we won't, because it gets me annoyed. Are you one of these people? If I spent a week at Hitch's house, would I be saying, Hitch, just 3 centimetres up? If you could, I'm over here.
Well,
are you addicted?
Yes, I think I am. To be honest, I think
we've now got an intervention happening.
I think I am, because on the odd occasion where your phone has a meltdown and says, "I'm not going to work just now," and you've got to reboot it and things, you think, oh gosh, I hope this thing hasn't died, because I've got so much stuff on there and I need to get my posts up or things. and quite often I'm sitting up at night just preparing shout-out lists for Snapchat or things like that. So it does take up a lot of time.
Tell me about that. Are you literally jotting down...
Well, I jot down... People seem to like having... See, we're all... I think everyone wants to be acknowledged. I know if someone acknowledges me, I just love it, whether I deserve it or not. It's just lovely. And so on Snapchat and on Insta as well, but really on Snapchat, I just give shout-outs. Somebody said once, would you give me a shout-out for my birthday? Probably wasn't even their birthday, but who cares? So I gave them a shout-out, and deluged with other requests. And so I try and do it every couple of days, and it's only people who've requested one, and there are hundreds of them. Hundreds.
So you can't do them all. You just make a
list.
list.
Well, I try to do them all.
Wow.
Yes, I try to do them all, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
I don't know that I claim to do them all, because there's just a lot. But it's one of these days I'm going to have to think. Wait a minute. I should limit this a bit. So if I haven't reached that,
could you put in how many hours a day you're on social media? Put a number to it.
Oh yes, it's
okay,
more than 2.
Don't say it.
More than 2, but it could be 3.
You said it by not saying anything. Tell me, do you have it next to your bed? Do you wait? Tell me you don't wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is check your facey or your snappy.
Well.
Yeah, Peter.
The thing is, what I do in the morning is I do first of all, I do check the news website. So I read the news, I check Twitter, and I check Instagram, and I check Snapchat.
Before
and
getting out of bed?
Sometimes.
I
Oh
love
gosh, this is so.
I love it.
this is a sad life
This is-
revealed.
well,
here, isn't it?
you're in the majority.
Well, yes, I am. But the good thing is, I also do. I find time to get to the gym 3 times a week, and I play golf whenever I can, and I go to work, and so I have a kind of a busy life, and I also do a podcast for
You do.
Behind
I want to
the
talk
Wheel.
about that, and I'm
Yes.
conscious of time.
Yeah.
What I love, another way you're using social media is you're giving shout outs to what I would call your customers, people who are going to watch the news.
Yes, I suppose that.
And I think listeners, business owners can learn from that. You also give shout outs to your personal trainer.
Yes.
Where you've gone and had a coffee somewhere, and so you're
That's
promoting other businesses, and that can
Yes.
only, I mean, if karma is a thing, and I think it is,
I hope so.
I hope so, then it can only come back, can't it?
Well, I think so, and I should also make it clear, I don't take sponsorship or anything like that. I don't get paid for any of this stuff. I just do it. I mean, I know some can monetize it.
Would you like to?
Well, I'm not sure, because I don't think. I really wonder about whether the people who are, I wonder about the people who are, as you said, customers, or people I've made contact with. I'm not sure that I really want them to feel that they're being sold something. So, I mean, I've just shared what's going on in my life, and a story. Here's a little story
Here we go.
about Specsavers. The other day, we had a meltdown in the news, and I had to go back to reading paper and I had to put my glasses on, because I can read the prompter without glasses, but paper, oh no. So I had a reading glasses episode of 9 News, and people seemed to love it and be amused by it. And somebody very clever at Specsavers sent me a little note saying, look, come in and try some out. So I went in and ended up buying some glasses, as well as they gave me some free ones. But I also bought some glasses, some reading glasses, and I thought I'll put a pic of that up on. So I did put it up, and it's amazing. A lot of people seem to like that. So it didn't do any harm. But I actually wasn't selling the audience anything. I was just sharing, well, this is what happened.
So it's social influencer marketing, and whether you're into it or not, I mean, you have a large following, and brands are paying for that now. My last guest was talking about embarking on a social influencer strategy where you go and knock on the door of social influencers, bloggers, social media experts, or whatever they are, podcasters, dare I say, and say, hey, listen, would you mind talking about in your own, real, authentically about this brand, and we'll pay you for it. So that's how you monetize it.
Yes, well,
I don't think it's a hitch thing.
No, well, not really, because the thing about news is that you be impartial.
Correct. Correct.
Nobody would know what side of politics I vote for, or whether I vote at all, because I never talk about that on air. We don't have an editorial approach.
You're on air in 6 minutes.
All right.
How are we going? We okay?
We're
so far, so good.
Great. Give me a bump. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to talk about your podcast. My last question around social media is, how do you handle the trolls?
There aren't many. I haven't had trouble with. I've had very little trouble. You occasionally get something, something nasty or off or whatever, and I think, oh well, never mind, and I just dismiss it.
Good on you.
Yeah.
You have a podcast called Behind the Wheel.
Yes, I'm one of the people on it. It's to do with a website, and it's a friend of mine, or friends of mine, run the website, and Chris Miller is one of the people who is involved with Behind the Wheel, and I've known him for years. He knew that I like cars, and he said, "Oh, come on, be a guest host." And so I did that, and discovered that it's actually quite good fun, and it's a great way of just touching base with people in a different way, making connections. A lot of people love cars. I love cars, but I also like public transport, and I'm a big believer in that. So I just found it very interesting.
Car?
My favourite car. I've just driven the Lexus LC 500.
I saw that photo on Instagram. Oh my goodness!
It's amazing. It's kind of the one I drove for the week for the review was mustard yellow, and when I saw the colour, I thought, oh, out there, isn't it? And then by the end of the week, I thought, oh, I would happily keep this car. However, I might say since then, I've just spent a week with the Golf, the latest model Golf, and it's the entry-level model, which is in the 20s, manual. Yep. Oh, this is such a good car. So, it doesn't have to be expensive.
When we were speaking the other night, you were talking about maybe starting another podcast with weather lady Lavinia,
Yes.
sports reporter Tony Jones.
Yes, something like that.
Why?
It's a possibility. Because we've got stories to tell. And if
We want to be heard.
If we could bore the hell out of somebody, why not?
Is that a Nine initiative, or is that something that the three of
it's
you have
just
gone, you
something-
know what?
We're good friends. We get on really well. And we thought, oh, why not? So we'll see.
You've only
hasn't
been
happened
doing
yet.
social media for 3 hours a day, so you've got another
I've got so much time to
21.
spare.
Tell me, before we finish, there's a lot of my listeners who do videos, who are embarking on getting their phone out, doing, thinking about Facebook Live, thinking about doing YouTube. With video, putting yourself on camera comes nerves.
Yep.
How do you? What's a tip for handling nerves?
Share yourself. Share yourself with the audience. Throw yourself at their mercy. Because when you're authentic, it's just be authentic. Be yourself. And no matter, I make about 200,000 or 300,000 mistakes a day on camera and on videos and on, stuff. But people don't seem to mind because we're all human.
We're all human.
Yep.
I love that coughing fit.
Oh, yes.
Of Reid.
Yes.
And Lavinia ended up reading the news.
Lavinia, who just happened to be there, thank goodness, took over, and she didn't miss a beat because, of course, Lavinia's very experienced broadcaster in many areas. She does our weather in Melbourne and national weather too on various shows, but Lavinia can read the news or do whatever she chooses to.
So just to finish on that then, Pete, is you're saying that being yourself removes all pressure. You don't have to try and be something you're not.
Oh, yes.
You aren't thinking ahead as to how am I presenting it.
No, just be yourself.
This is me.
Yes, that's right. Because the thing, as we were saying, the audience is highly intelligent, and if you're being phony, they know. You don't have to talk about stuff you don't want to. Just say, oh look, don't want to go into that here, or whatever.
Good.
But just be yourself and share yourself.
Good on you. Well, thank you for making time to be on the Small Business Big Marketing Show and taking us behind the scenes in your social media
Very
activity.
honoured. And if I can hold this up for
Absolutely.
for
It's
the
possibly one of the great books of, I don't know, of the last day or so.
of the last 200 years, this is one of the great books. And it's got this marvellous author. His name is Tim Reid. Give it a go. Check it out.
Love it. Peter Hitchener, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Good on you, mate.
Thank you so much.
Oh, there we go. You've got a minute and a half.
Oh, you're marvellous. Thank you so much. Was that okay? I didn't mean to. I kept on interrupting myself.
I
can't
try
help
to do
myself.
less talking than I do talking. I have had the odd troll tell me to shut up.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, sometimes you listen. Sometimes I think,
Oh, no,
I think as an interviewer.
No, I'm always, we cop, criticism. But as far as trolls are concerned, a few people, you get a few hate things.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It's about them, not about you.
Correct. What are you doing with Dennis now? Just
Today's topic is today we have a talk topic every week, and today's topic is words. What are the words you can't spell, you can't pronounce, the words you hate, the weasel words, the words you use to make things sound more important?
Love it. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll be in it after I do my pricing program. I'm going to come and sit and watch the boys again.
I look forward to it.
I had a great. Would you mind just pushing
Thanks,
salt?
Adam.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No worries, Peter.
I had a good experience.
Thanks, about appreciate it.
No, I'll see you around. Thank you.
Okay.